Hops are to beer what grapes are to wine. Hops are a spice. They're not the fermentable. They are a flowering plant, and they bitter the beer and add flavor characteristics to the beer, aroma, bitterness, and taste, and they preserve the beer. So let's go take a look at some. We have a hop cooler in the back, well stocked despite the hop crisis. And customers can always come back here and help themselves. And we usually go with them, just if it's their first time, and help them make some choices. So, hops come in many different forms. My favorite form of hop is the way that God intended, straight off the vine.
Really what happened in the hop industry was there was a few factors. There was a large fire, for one thing, in the Pacific Northwest. It wiped out, I think it was 5% of the world market, which really is quite a bit. The European market, they suffered some really bad weather, which resulted in really poor yields. And then of course the craft explosion, which is a little hop intensive as it is on the beer side of things, really started consuming a lot more hops than what they had projected. These three factors coupled together really started putting a strain on the availability and drove prices up.
The price is 300% to 500% higher.
A culmination of a lot of different things happening at the exact same time, basically kind of like a perfect storm scenario. All of us.
The hop crisis has that came about last year didn't affect us as negatively as it affected some smaller brewers that didn't have hop contracts as strong as we do.
The one strange thing with Founders as a business, is they have a hop contract. So they are forced to do dealings with a certain grower and certain distributors. So the hops that they can get for however long that contract is extremely limited, or is limited to what they can get from those growers. Now, with us home brewers, it was diminished. If I could put it in one singular word, it would be diminished. The cooler lost probably about 2/3 of its original size of selection.
It's not impossible to get hops. We had hops, but we had hops coming from the southern hemisphere. The distributor that we buy from, that anybody in this side of the Mississippi River buys from, they are very powerful, and they know that homebrewers are their #1 clients, homebrewing retail like us. So it was much harder as a small brewery to get hops than it was for us to get hops, because we're a well-established, top-tier homebrew shop.
We have a commitment to our customers and our distributors that we make the same product every single time. So I think one of the major negatives that we had is we actually had to write a letter to all our distributors, and there were certain products that we just couldn't produce in high enough volumes. But since then we've got stronger hop contracts with our suppliers, and we're brewing as fast as we can right now to make sure we can get as much liquid out there.
We're not looking to satisfy a mass crowd. Don't get me wrong, we have our own personal set of fans. We have those people who expect us to be making beer, but they only expect that our beer will be of a certain quality, not necessarily a certain type of beer. They're not looking for staples. They're not looking for your pale ales, your centennials, those things that Founders has. And they like to see variety from us, because that's what we have at our potential.
First of all, you're not a commercial production house, so you don't have to duplicate the same beer and sell it to a highly educated consumer market who knows when you make a change. That's the challenge that the professionals have to deal with. You don't have to deal with that. You just have to make a beer that you like. So brewers had to improvise, and we encouraged them to do as such. We encouraged them to try new things they never had before. Sometimes people don't like things that they don't recognize.
And then you started to notice that even though there was this crisis, slowly but surely stores such as Siciliano's started bringing in other varieties of hops which they hadn't necessarily been ordering before.
So we say, hey, you don't know what this hop is, so we would put lists of new varieties of hops up here, and really trying to push these new varieties of hops.
With hops specifically, we can literally make any type of beer. Barley wines, IPAs with just hundreds of ounces of hops if we wanted to. That would be ridiculously bitter. However, we could throw as much as we want in there. It may never be replicatable on a giant brew scale. And you'd never be able to get that amount of hop out of a certain contractor once you're a bigger brewer. But we can do it now, and we might as well.